there is an example of a scenario that I've created for myself on many occasions, which is my addiction of choice when it comes to calories, which is if I happen to get extremely thirsty, all right, if my thirst supersedes hunger, trust me, you wouldn't believe this. I don't know if you've ever gotten thirsty enough for this to happen, because you'll grab the drink maybe the moment it hits. But for me, that allows thirst to hit a level of unsustainability. I totally forget about food. Like food, you could put chocolate cream pie, anything you could think of, a stack of whoopie pies, Twinkies, everything that I could possibly I feel as if it's something that's comfort food for me that I could really take part in and enjoy. And I wouldn't even give it a second thought when that thirst has taken over. And that thirst is number one on the list, because you can go a long time without food, but without water, you'll die a heck of a lot sooner. So the body naturally, when you're thirsty, that's the number one priority. So the thirst hits, and all of a sudden I found it was my worst enemy. It was my worst enemy and my best friend all rolled into one, was the Italian ice. Because the Italian ice, okay, which come in many flavors, you take this Italian ice when your thirst is at an apex, and you have the Italian ice, and every single bite of the Italian ice has a unique flavor: watermelon, peach, cherry, orange, whatever it may be. Yes, there are many. There are many to choose from. Trust me, I know each and every one, by the way, by name. They're all my close, personal, longtime friends, each and every one of them. So you take these Italian ices, you have a scoop, you take a spoonful, and it's like, oh my gosh, you feel like your thirst is being quenched for like a second, and then it comes back. So then you take another bite, your thirst is quenched, and then it comes back, and you get the flavor of the high fructose corn syrup, all the variety of flavors that you could possibly have. So if you're getting my drift when it comes to this, the thirst goes away and comes back, which means it never goes away. Okay. Yeah. Never goes away. So what does that mean? That means an Italian ice, you get a cup of an Italian ice, right? Most normal human beings would probably stop there. Two, maybe two. I'll give them two. How about 10?
Oh my God.
How about 14? I think my record is 14 or 15. Okay. In one sitting. Italian ices.
I can't imagine
all sugar,
behaving.
All high fruit.
I can't imagine that being your behavior. After that.
Think about me putting a stop to it at 15, but wanting to start over again. Okay. That's what happens when you use food for comfort. Like I'm taking something like just a primal instinct to drink something because I'm thirsty. And what are my choices? My choices is I could grab some water and I could quench the thirst, and I would forget about the Italian ice. And believe me, I don't even think about Italian ices in the presence of, if it's not in the presence of thirst. Like if thirst isn't there, there's Italian ices, I never give them a second thought. But when I'm thirsty, that's the first thing I think of, because I've conditioned myself after having them. And I wouldn't do this by myself. I'd do it with my brother. We do it like on a Sunday night, if it's a night we have a special meal and happens to have a lot of salt, and I get really thirsty. And then once the thirst hits me, forget about it. At that point in time, my mind is fixated on the Italian ice. And then because I don't eat this way all the time, I can get away with having some Italian ices. 15 was not a normal occurrence. I've hit the 15 number a couple times. Usually I stop at 10, but I've been trying to mitigate it at 5, just so I don't have some sort of glucose poisoning in the middle of one of those Italian ices. I don't need to be taken to the hospital and have to explain why it is that they're having to admit me. So I figure I try to cap it off, but it's not easy, because it's very simple to just keep going on and on and on and on and on, because the thirst is still there. So why should I stop? So there's an example of taking something that is very enjoyable in the presence of thirst, and I'm pretty much hit. If this were happening to me every day, which it doesn't, because I drink plenty of water. I'm not, most of the time, I'm not thirsty. If this were happening to me every day, I would have to think to myself, do I want to eat 15 Italian ices a day? Yes, in the presence of thirst. But should I? No. So maybe what I should do instead of the 15 Italian ices is somehow quench my thirst in a different way. When I feel the thirst, like I have a choice at that point. I can go for the Italian ices and just have the perpetual one after the other, which one, like the satisfaction we were talking about earlier with the candy bar. You have the one candy bar and it's like, I want another one. Like, why do I, like, I just ate this, so it was just lasted this such a short period. I want to just continue this for as long as I can. Well, it's the same with the Italian ices. The thirst is there. It's like, I had one, I want 2, 3, 4, 10, because it's fun and it's doesn't get old. As long as the thirst is there, if nothing's stopping me from wanting them, I just keep going. Other than my own free will saying this is probably not a good idea. If I had this happening to me every day, I'd be like, I got to satisfy this thirst somehow, some other way. I got to drink the water, get rid of the thirst, and I won't have the cravings for the Italian ice, and I'll be fine. So I just have to make a conscious effort to go in that direction. This doesn't happen often enough that it really is a bother at all. But if this was something I was dealing with that was truly addictive on a day-to-day basis, I would have to find some sort of alternative to satisfy the craving, so that way I can move away from that habit, which my brain has now solidified as something that the moment thirst hits, that's what I think of immediately. I know full well that if that thirst is there and I have that first Italian ice, it's just, I have to go in knowing I'm going to have 10. Okay. I can't, or at least 5. I don't go in having one.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have one, I'm just having the water and just getting rid of I don't even want to. It's straight. I know it's absolutely bizarre, but this is what happens. It becomes irrational when you start using it just for the sake of pleasure alone in a vacuum. It literally becomes something that if you start thinking about what it is that you want, you don't want it to end. You definitely don't want it to end. So with me, I'm like, yeah, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all out and I'm going to have a great time doing it. I'm not just going to have one and then call it a day and be like, was that? And I'll think back, I'll be like, it wasn't even worth having one. But yes, after I've had 10, I don't really think back much. I just chalk it up as, it doesn't happen all the time. No big deal. So that's what happens when it's a special occasion. I could never get away with it on a regular basis, which is why I don't do it. I know full well that I would be thinking of ways to try and eliminate that, because I just know that what it's going to happen if it becomes a part of my regular lifestyle, what it's going to lead to. And I try to focus on what's the consequences of doing this on a daily basis. And I can't have that. So I have to find a way around it. And so you find methods to try and eliminate that in whatever way possible.